It depends on the characteristics of this God.
Okay, well, first of all, we're not talking about any higher level or additional attributes. All we're talking about is God as ultimate creator and a mind and as the source of all possibility and impossibility. Do you believe that there are one or more facts that exist without the necessity of referencing God?
I don't believe that anything is dependent on God because I don't believe in the God.
Then God cannot exist in that. If that's true, then God cannot coexist in that world. So your position is an indirect denial of God. Do you realize that?
So you're talking about implicit versus implicit kind of conceptions.
That's right.
Here.
You can explicitly or implicitly deny God. You are implicitly denying God by invoking that there are facts that do not necessitate referencing God. Your position necessarily entails the falsity of God. Are we clear?
Yeah, and it entails also having a clear understanding of defining this God.
Okay, I already defined it for you. Now, what we're talking about is your atheism. Okay, I didn't mention about what I believe. We're talking about your atheism. Now, before we proceed,
please don't personalize that. It's just a characteristic.
Are we clear that your position entails the falsity of God?
I don't agree with that because I'm not taking an anti-theistic position. I'm more neutral.
I didn't say anti-theistic. Okay, now. Do you believe that there are one or more facts that exist without the necessity of standing in causal relations to God?
Well, that's how it seems. So, sure.
Okay, good. Then your position entails the falsity of God. Then it necessarily follows.
No, it's not necessary because
it
these
necessarily
facts
follows. Randolph.
Because these facts could still be independent of a God existing.
You're not understanding. Okay, God cannot exist in a world where even one temporal fact does not necessitate referencing him. Okay, do you understand? There's only two worlds: world where God exists and where all temporal facts necessitate referencing him, and another world is where facts do not necessitate referencing God because God could not exist in that world. Okay, so there's only two worlds, Randolph. Now, you have chosen that the world that you are in is that there are one or more temporal facts that do not necessitate referencing God. Okay, it necessarily follows that God cannot exist in that world, Randolph.
You're attempting to limit the scope to two possible worlds. I'm not convinced that should hypothetically be.
I gave you a true dichotomy, Randolph. It's a true dichotomy. Okay, either facts necessitate referencing the necessity of God, or they do not. That is a true dichotomy. Okay.
It's one with limited scope, though.
Is it a true dichotomy?
No, because you've limited the scope.
Randolph,
you had to
if I say A or not A, is that a true dichotomy?
Generally, yep.
Good. So we're saying facts either necessitate God or not. That's a true dichotomy, Randolph.
Yeah, you're talking about, but the scope that you've limited is to say all facts.
Randolph, I have given you a true dichotomy. Okay, Are you clear now?
Oh yeah, I'm clear.
Okay, so there's not a third option. Now,
I'm objecting to that.
Okay, okay, if I say A or not A, what's the third option?
Oh, but that's a dichotomy there that doesn't have a limited
scope. Facts necessitate God or not. What's the third option? Ontologically.
Some facts do and some facts don't.
That's a dichotomy right there.
No, because hold on. You're specifying facts in plural.
Randolph, you can't have a world where some facts reference God and others don't. In a world where God is, because God is defined as the necessary precondition of all facts. It's definitional. You cannot have a world where some facts necessitate referencing God and others don't. Either all facts would necessitate referencing God because of the way God is defined, or no facts would necessitate God. I have given you a true dichotomy. I've explained it now clearly 3 times. The third option that you try to defeat the dichotomy, say that some facts necessitate God where others don't, that world cannot exist under how we have defined God. If you're talking about a God, if you're talking about a God who is not ultimate and the necessary precondition of all facts, that would be a different subject. But that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so we have a true dichotomy here. Are we clear, Randolph?
I disagree with it being a true dichotomy, and
Randolph, what's the third option? Because the last time you gave an option, I rebutted it, and you didn't give a counter rebuttal.
Because you were talking.
What's the third option, Randolph?
Darth, you'll have to stay quiet for.
Darth Dawkins is such an asshole. Listen to him. Listen, I have to say nothing. All you got to do is listen to him, and the way he behaves. He's an absolute child.
On that deity. So
yeah, I'm
looking at this. Oh, I'm understanding. You're trying to limit it.
No, you're oblivious. Randolph, either all facts necessitate referencing God or not. Can God coexist in a world where God is defined as the necessary transcendental starting point for all facts? Could God coexist with one fact that did not necessitate referencing him?
So first of all, I'm not accepting that such a deity is in existence. So
I didn't ask you to accept that. It's a conceptual question. It's a thought experiment. Can God,
that's correct.
God is defined as the necessary precondition of all facts. Could that God coexist with a single fact that did not necessitate referencing him?
A machine of bullshit.
I don't see why not.
Okay, this is going right over your head.
But
you're not understanding. God is defined.
You're not giving me
the God that we're talking about, Randolph. This is going right over your head. You're the head of.
You're not giving me.
You don't understand.
You're cutting me off. You're cutting me off when I try to answer.
Randolph, I'll have to mute. Darth, I apologize, but you have
to the problem.
Darth, don't talk when you're muted. Basically, you have to give time for Randolph to respond. Okay.
Every single time this moderator.
Listen carefully.
3 positions.
Every single time this moderator. How come it's
I've already explained to you that when we're talking about God, we're talking about.
Every single time this moderator steps in and says, Darth, you got to give the other guy a chance. You've got to give the other guy a chance. The moderator is a shit moderator. I like the guy, but he's a really shit moderator when it comes to Darth Dawkins. He gives him too much leeway. Yesterday, with Dr. Lawrence Krauss, Darth Dawkins absolutely was a pig, a rude fucking pig to Dr. Lawrence Krauss. And the moderator allowed it to happen. That was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. But anyway, let's just carry on listening.
Actually, with those conditions, the answer would be yes.
Okay, but you believe that there are some facts that do not necessitate referencing God or standing in causal relations to God. Then God cannot logically coexist with such a fact. It necessarily follows, Randolph. So your position entails the falsity of God. Are we clear?
Well, yes, we are clear on that, but I'm not in agreement because this position also would require me to rule out the possibility of multiple deities as well as none.
No, Randolph. Wow, I am truly dumbfounded that you are not getting this. Okay, I am not demanding that you believe that God exists. What I'm trying to show you is that your position necessarily entails the falsity of God. Now, you believe
I don't agree.
that it is not. You believe that it's not necessary to reference God as the necessary precondition of all facts. Now, can a single fact coexist with God as defined if the fact in question does not necessitate referencing God?
It would depend on what the fact is, but I suppose it could be possible.
Wow, you're not getting this, Randolph. I have teenagers on Discord understanding this concept.
Darth, don't make
God cannot coexist with
Oh,
a fact. Okay, Randolph, God here is defined as being the necessary precondition of all facts. Do you understand the definition?
Yeah, that's how you're defining a male deity. Yes.
Yeah. Did I say male?
Yeah, you said God. That's the male. That's the male term for deity.
So Randolph, can the God defined as such, okay, that you do not accept, can that God logically coexist with a temporal fact that does not necessitate referencing him? The answer is no, it can't.
Yep, I agree with that.
Good. Now, do you believe such a fact exists?
From what I can see, that's how reality is without a deity.
Okay, so
it seems to me.
So then it necessarily and logically follows, if your belief is true, then God cannot exist in that world. Do you understand?
My belief. I've told you I don't believe in deities.
Okay, I didn't ask you about what you believed. I'm trying to explain.
God cannot be true. He's right. God cannot exist. This is the one thing that I do agree with Darth Dawkins on. God cannot exist. Let's continue.
Exist is an indirect denial and affirmation of the falsity of God. Do you understand that now?
You're stating that as my belief. I told you that I agree
I didn't state that was your
conceptually.
belief. I said it necessarily and logically follows. Do you believe that there's one fact that does not necessitate referencing God?
See, this is what he always told. This nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Just say.
Well, I believe that. It seems to me that that's the case, so I say, yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, so God as defined as the precondition of all facts could not logically coexist in that world, correct?
Yeah, with that concept as you just stated it, I agree with that. The logic seems to be correct.
Right. So then your position entails the indirect denial and the falsity of God.
So again, we're talking about some implicit things here. So
does your position
it's not
necessarily and logically?
It is not a position that I hold actively.
Okay, no, listen to me. Does your position logically and necessarily entail the falsity of God when you affirm that there are temporal facts that don't necessitate referencing God?
That would be the implicit consequence, yeah.
We're a bunch of.
Okay, so your position entails the falsity of God, correct?
No.
No, it necessarily follows, Randolph. Randolph, I explain this to people of all ages every week, every month.
So he asked Randolph a question, and he asked Randolph a yes or no question. Randolph says no, and Darth says, no, that's not the right answer. No, Randolph, that's wrong.
Too many times I understand that already.
Okay, so do you accept that your position entails the falsity of God?
Implicitly, yeah, not explicitly.
Okay, it makes no difference whether the denial of God is explicit or implicit. Either way, your position entails the falsity of God, that God does not exist. Okay, is that your position?
Only through implication. It is not an explicit view that I hold.
It doesn't have to be explicit.
So maybe
it doesn't have to be explicit, Randolph. Does your position entail the denial of God, Randolph?
No, explicitly, no.
Randolph, you just contradicted yourself.
Randolph,
you
naughty boy.
I asked you if it was explicit. Does your position, by implication, entail the falsity of God?
No.
Okay, there's a question.
Yes, it does. You now contradicted yourself. You just agreed
to
this
I haven't.
2 minutes ago. Yes,
I think
you did. If you affirm, Randolph, you're just filibustering.
I need to.
Randolph, you don't need to explain anything. You just contradicted
yourself. Yes, I do.
Randolph,
because I think that you may not be understanding what I mean by implicit and explicit.
Just a minute, Darth, you have to give him time to explain. Randolph, just a minute. I know you have to go soon, like 5 more minutes, I guess, and
yeah. I need a moment to explain. I need a moment to.
Yeah,
I need
sure.
to explain. I need a moment to explain what I mean by implicit and explicit, because I suspect there may
Just
be
a
a
second.
misunderstanding here.
It's fine. Darth, are you willing to be quiet to let him explain?
Any sense that God's
Oh my gosh, he's still talking. Okay.
Equivocation. I mean, stop the equivocation.
Nobody gets to talk. Okay, I'm gonna mute you, JJ. Get out of the room.
Did you see that? The moderator muted Darth, said a few words, said something, went back to unmute Darth to tell him to stay muted, to shut up, and he was still talking even while muted.
Yeah, don't mute me again or I'll never be back here again. Randolph, it doesn't matter, okay? Your position entails the falsity of God in some sense. Is that correct?
I'm going to just take a moment to explain what I mean by
I'm
implicit
asking you
and
a
explicit.
simple question.
Yeah, you just asked me and I just answered.
Does your position entail, by implication, that God does not exist?
Yes, it does, and I want to explain
Good.
what implicit and explicit means
That's
before
all
your
I
next
wanted
question.
to know. That's all I need to know. Your position entails the falsity of God. Now, can you please explain to me how it is that God does not exist?
After I explain what I mean by implicit and explicit, I will do that. Quick. So, okay, when it comes to not holding a belief in something, an explicit belief would be, or an explicit, holding that explicitly would mean that I have the capability of holding an opposite view to that, or a contradictory view to that, such as a theistic view that deities do exist, or even an anti-theistic one that deities specifically don't exist. An inanimate object, such as a rock, would be implicitly atheistic. Would be implicitly atheistic.
Randolph.
I'm halfway through explaining. I'm almost done. I've given you a lot of time.
I asked you to be quick.
So an implicit saying that an inanimate object like a chair or a bucket of water is an atheist would be implicitly correct, because those things are not capable of holding any beliefs. Hang on, I'm not done.
Running the clock.
I'm not done. No. You will allow me to finish this, because I'm trying to give clear answers here.
Yeah, no, you're filibustering.
And so I'm not. I'm almost done. No, I'm almost done, and this is also for the benefit of the audience.
Okay,
So, implicitly, inanimate objects would be not believing in deities, but it's only implicit. It's not explicit.
Okay. You see how Darth Dawkins is just a really nasty individual as a person. He's got the personality of a Canada goose.
Filibustering.
Okay.
No, I'm not. You have had
Randolph,
plenty of time.
your position your affirmation that there is one or more facts that don't necessitate referencing God, does it logically and necessarily follow that God cannot coexist in that world?
God cannot exist in.
Yeah, again, as I told you, it's not a view that I hold. But
okay, no, I didn't ask you if you hold that view. I said, does it logically and necessarily follow?
I agree conceptually, and so implicitly you could say that I hold that view.
Randolph,
I am trying to, but you're interrupting me.
No, you're not answering the question. No, I'm interrupting you because you're not answering the question. You're wasting.
You're not giving me time.
Randolph.
Oh, I think you don't like my answers because I'm being clear.
Randolph, if
Randolph's talking, he's answering the question. What do you mean? I'm interrupting you because you're not answering the question. This is how dumb Darth Dawkins is.
Follow from that God cannot exist in that world.
By implication, you asked, and I already answered that. Yes.
That yes, good. Then your position entails that God cannot exist.
That's not my position, because I don't hold the anti-theistic position explicitly.
You are completely in denial here. Do you affirm that there are facts that exist? Do you affirm that there are facts that exist without the necessity of referencing God as the precondition?
That seems to be the case to me, yes.
Okay, good. God cannot exist in a world like that.
Right!
Thank you for admitting that.
Okay, so good. Then you are agreeing then that when you affirm that there are temporal facts
Well
that don't
done,
necessitate God, God
Randolph.
cannot exist, right?
Yeah, I told you I agree with that logic. That
Good,
makes
then,
sense.
Good. Can you please
I don't have a
explain to
problem
me
with that
then
concept.
how is it then how is it that God does not exist?
Well, that's just
I don't
gonna
hold that
follow.
position.
That's just
Yes,
gonna
you do.
follow
It
from.
necessarily follows from your claim that there are temporal facts that do not necessitate him. It necessarily follows, and you just agreed to it.
It's just gonna follow from the fact that he doesn't believe in God that God doesn't exist, Darth.
I told you
Are you
by
still there,
implication.
Randolph?
You even asked me by implication, your words, and
Now,
I'm here.
so your position entails the falsity of God. Now, I want to know,
Implicitly.
how is it that there is no God, Randolph? That's right. How is it that there's no God, Randolph?
I don't explicitly hold that position.
You don't have to explicitly hold it. It's entailed. Okay, the falsity of God is necessarily entailed in your claim that there are temporal facts that don't reference
There's
him.
nothing I can do about that.
Okay, so Randolph, the bottom line is the affirmation. Would the moderators please mute these people? When you affirm that there's a temporal fact that does not reference God, then that equals the denial of God. Are we clear?
Only implicitly it does. We're clear partway there.
It doesn't matter. There's not this only, because an implicit and an explicit are both denials of God. So your position,
I don't hold it explicitly.
It doesn't matter whether it's implicit or it doesn't matter whether it's implicit
Yes, it
or
does.
explicit. No, it does not,
Yes, it
Randolph. Randolph, God cannot exist in your world where facts do not necessitate referencing him. Is that true, Randolph?
Through implication, yes, that's true.
Okay, good. So you are now admitting that your position entails the falsity of God. Okay, we're clear on that now.
Fine.
Now, I want to know, how is it that God does not exist?
I told you I don't hold that position explicitly.
Okay, Randolph, how is it that there is no God?
He starts to repeat himself over and over again.
So is this like these police interrogations where they ask people a question 3 times and then finally get a different answer?
Just like when we talked on Math Pig, you were completely a deer in the headlights and were filibustering and was not addressing the issue. It's crystal clear right now. Your position entails the falsity of God. Now, as the head of Canadian atheists, okay, it doesn't make a difference.
But it does.
Now, I want to know how it is. No, it does not.
Yes, it
does. It does not, Richard. It's a distinction without a difference. It makes no difference whether it's explicit or implicit. Randolph, does your position? Okay, Randolph, you are making a distinction with no difference. It makes no difference that it is implicit versus explicit. They both entail that God cannot exist. Are we clear?
They both do entail that, yes.
Good. So your position is God cannot and does not exist.
That's my
right?
position too.
I don't hold that position explicitly.
Okay. No, it doesn't matter that you don't hold it explicitly. You see, now you're being deceptive and evasive. Your position entails
giving you
falsity of God. Now, I want to know. Okay, you know what? You are a total waste of time. Okay.
Hey, Darth.
You sitting there? Shut up! Don't tell me what to do. Okay.
No, Darth. That's not gonna go here. This isn't Reformation. If you want to engage with Randolph, you'll have to follow our rules. Okay. There is no 2 ways about it. So, if you don't want to follow our rules, you don't get to engage him.
Okay.
I'll just say I'm not offended or anything here, by the way. But thank you very much. I appreciate respect.
He left.
Okay. Bye.
I do appreciate the respect. Thank you very much.